and Rob Bolton joins us on the phone. And so, Rob, I'll start with you before we bring Smokey in. Quail Hollow, it's weird to me to hear people talk about it because so many golfers have done well there, but it doesn't sound to me like they're all that enthusiastic about playing there. Am I wrong to read that? Because like some of them say it's nice, but it's not my favorite. Like, what do you think about the way that they've kind of reacted to the course?
Hey, buddy. First of all, congrats on finally taking the reins away from Smokey on the show. I know you've been wanting that for a long time.
It's been a power struggle.
Hi, David. I know you can hear me. Yeah, you're right. That's a strong takeaway. I think they're just not enamored with the place, right? They want to be, they want to be courted. Come on, come get me. And this place is like, all right, I'll come to you. I'll hit driver everywhere and see what happens. And, eventually the competitive juices will start flowing again. They don't get to pick the place, but they do choose to play. So once you're in, and then they're asked questions. And fortunately, we're getting this honest answer. It's just sort of entertaining right now. They'll figure out some ways to make it interesting. I always put faith in the setup crews, especially for the majors. They can be analyzed and criticized until, from sun up to sundown. But it's normally the criticism in advance, and then the competition takes over. So I'm not really putting a lot of stock in it. It's just what we talk about when the focus is as strong as it is pre-tournament.
Smokey, I'll bring you in here. You have the first pick. Yeah, look, there you are. How do you feel? Like, your thoughts on Quail Hollow and anything you want to ask Rob before we get started in the draft?
Well, it's one of the things I was going to bring up is that it's a bomber's course. And, sometimes you see that and sometimes like the U.S. Open is surely not that, but the bombers still try to bomb it. It's the fact that it's a PGA Tour venue that we've seen. Rob, is 18, just to make sure I know the right one, but I've watched a little bit of the PGA channel, but is that the one on 18 that has that beautiful, enticing but dangerous creek running all the way down the left side of the fairway that you have to be careful of, and the green is way back top left?
Yeah, you got it. That's exactly where we are this week.
That's a beautiful course, but yeah, I don't. It looks like this is a bomber's course. I don't know about the guys that are more precision like, but I've watched this many times. I know that a lot of guys in the field have won there, including, of course, Rory has dominated there. Nick Taylor's won there. Justin Thomas has won there. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. And I'll tell you what I do think, Rob. I don't know if it was the last 5 to 7 or 8 to 10 years, but there was a time when the PGA Championship seemed to slip from being at the elite level of the Masters, the Open, and then even, of course, the U.S. Open. What did they do? It seemed like their field now is better than all the other ones.
Yeah, that's it always has been fourth in terms of compelling and, sex appeal. But it does have the strongest, deepest field of all the majors. It's the only major with only professionals, and granted, 20 of them are PGA professionals from around the country. So they're catering to the historical element there. But the top of the field, there's only one golfer not in the field inside the top 100 of the world golf ranking, and that's Billy Horschel, who's having surgery this week. Otherwise, he'd have been there. And yes, your point about it being a bomber's course. Here's my counterpoint. Who isn't a bomber these days, though? Right?
That's true. Yeah.
The narrative has been there's no creativity on this course. So everybody's going to be hitting driver. Does it become a second shot course? Because I tend to be an optimist by nature because life is too short, guys. It's not a second shot course. You still have to be able to play from the fairway on this place because of its length. So yes, most of these guys hit it really long. How much difference is there between 320 and 305? Well, you ask these guys quite a bit. But with where the tees are going to be, with where the hole locations are going to be, it should be, I put air quotes up, relatively fair for all. But if you're just going to eliminate the guys who don't hit it very long, you're not going to eliminate a lot of guys, as it were. So I tend to think that particular narrative gets blown out of proportion a little bit, given the talent of the guys who hit it really long. And then at that point, yes, we'll see what they do with the irons. That's going to be super important, especially the long irons this week. And not all the guys who hit it long there are long irons really well. And so we'll see more of a division of the leaderboard at that point because the division of talent already exists in advance. It's just that it's harder to see with the eye when the guys are hitting, let's say, 4-iron instead of drivers when we're trying to watch the television. We don't have all of that. Everybody's hitting from the same spot on the tee. They're not always on the same spot from the fairway or from lies off the fairway. So it's a bit of a mind, it messes with your mind a little bit. You're trying to like digest a tournament like this, and then all of the rhetoric in advance of what it really is. But there's going to be some compelling elements to this, so I'm willing to let it play out to see what those are going to be.
And one of the other things, and I know, Paul, you got to get to the draft, but is the fact they moved it up to May. That's a big deal because it sometimes got lost in the shuffle towards the end in August. Yeah.
No doubt about it, and especially at Quail Hollow, where it was last held in 2017, Justin Thomas won at only 8 under par on what was a par 71 at the first time it played. I'm sorry, a par 72 at the time, now par 71, and as I'm thinking about it a lot, I might have that backward, but that was when the Bermuda grass was in full bloom on the greens. This week it's overseeded with POA. So the Bermuda will be emerging in spots. The greens might play a little bit differently. There's a whole nuance to the fact that they have a sub-air system. The place is wet this week. How are the greens going to be receptive? They better be receptive at least early so the guys are going to get perturbed. So scoring should be really nice on Thursday, and then it should get more difficult on the weekend.
All right, let's get to it. Smokey, you and you can thank Garrett for this. I did a different method. I just asked different people what number I was thinking of. Garrett nailed it right, and that I didn't tell them who they were picking for. So Garrett nailed it right. He was picking for you. So you have the first pick because
Rory.
He picked the number right.
Rory.
No, didn't have to think about it. Rob.
Yeah, give him another second. I think he kind of rushed into that. Well, McIlroy topped my power rankings for all the reasons. I'm going to have to, just like Emery at the Master Draft. I guess I'll take Scotty Scheffler.
Yes.
All right, Emery.
I'm going to take Bryson.
Bryson. I was actually, I don't think I've ever taken him, Rob, because I'm a Koepka guy. So Emery, but right. I was going to do it now, and now Emery's stolen my thunder. But I'll take Xander Schauffele. He's done well at Quail Hollow in the past, and then I will follow that up with Justin Thomas, who won at Quail Hollow in 2017.
And then I'm going to go with Aubert.
Okay. All right. Rob.
Yeah. So now that the top 4 of my power rankings are gone, Schauffele, who's the defending champion and playing better now, is a great pick there, Paul. He would have been great in the top 3, but to get him at 4 right now, I don't think we drafted him. Maybe I picked him in the last round for the Masters, but he wasn't in my power rankings. He's 6th this week. He's deserving of that. Now we get into the portion of the program where we want to make the cut because all the big hitters that should contend for the title are gone. I'm just going to lean into my power rankings to go with Shane Lowry at number 5. He's my choice for this draft.
All right, Smokey 2 coming to you.
Well, that just took one off my plate because Rob's an evil person. He wins it every time anyway, but I appreciate him doing that. I'm going to take I'll take Morikawa.
Okay. All right. Who?
And oh yes, and Matsuyama.
Oh, all right. A theme building for Smokey right here. Rob, who you got?
M and M and M. So Patrick Reed is next to my power rankings for the record, but the fact that he's still on the board and looking to prove himself once and for all, I do love this. I love that element. It's unquantifiable. It's an intangible, and he needs to get back onto the world stage in a big way. This is a course that can allow him to do that. Even though he hasn't played well at Quail Hollow before, I'm going to go ahead and consider that a small sample size. Give me the big Spaniard, John Rahm.
All right. Emery.
He just took mine. I think I'm going to have to go with I'll go with Tommy Fleetwood.
Gosh, I love Tommy Fleetwood. He's one of my favorite guys to pick, as you know, Rob probably remembers. All right, so I've got two more, and then
I already had you penciled in for him.
Yeah, I know. I love Tommy Fleetwood. I'll take Sepp Straka and Tyrrell Hatton is a never draft for me. All he does is hurt my feelings. And Patrick Cantlay. All right. Emery, who you got?
I'm going to go with Corey Connors.
Okay. And Rob, last pick.
Yeah, just for the record, I want to let the audience know that Austin Eckroat actually is in the field, Emery. Yeah, you're passing on him again for a major.
Every time I pick him, he doesn't seem to do very well, so I'm trying to reverse the juju on him.
By the way, Paul, I'm not watching. I apologize. I'm on the phone here. But when you mentioned Tyrrell Hatton, did the lights in the studio flicker? I would imagine.
I think they did. I mean, he's been an absolute. I mean, for all of us. And granted, look, the Masters was not a great thing for anybody but you, Rob. We didn't even bring that up.
Go on.
Look, Emery, Smokey, and I were out middle of day one. Like we weren't, but we were. Like, you know, middle of day one, already one of our golfers each had just, I mean, might as well just like gotten a scuba suit and lived in the water. It was, everybody was dying there. So your fourth pick.
Yeah, and McIlroy ended up winning it anyway with 4 double bogeys.
Yeah.
By the way, I had to look up Hatton because it's been 5 years since he burned all of us. He's made 5 straight cuts in the Masters, 4 straight in the PGA, 3 straight in the U.S. Open. He hasn't been terrible. He actually can be a contributor. He is in my power rankings, but he's not next. I'm actually shocked that Patrick Reed is still sitting there for me, so I'm going to take him in the last round.
All right, Patrick Reed. Smokey, your last pick.
Nick Taylor won here before at Quail Hollow. He's playing pretty well, but I just can't pull the trigger on that. I always have just a dumb pick, and I want to go with Koepka, but I mean, Paul, do you remember him, by the way?
Yeah, I do. And he's won this event a few times. So, I mean, he likes it. This is kind of his one, but you know, I don't know where his head's at.
Well, and then Spieth is just a double bogey waiting to happen. I would love to take him. Reed was going to be my pick. I'm going to go with Neiman. Playing really well overseas. I'm not a big live guy at all, but heck, I'm going to go with Joaquin Neiman.
All right, Rob, who is scaring you the most?
That's a good question. I'm shocked David didn't pick Mickelson. It would have rounded out the 4 M's that he was shooting for there, but he went an N. Pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah. Neiman needs to show a lot like Koepka lately. He hasn't had a top 25 in a major in last 6 starts. 3-time winner of this particular tournament. Yeah, I agree with you. And we're talking about Brooks here, not Chase. Neiman, same thing. Not a factor in a major yet. He'll have his moments. He's still only 26. He'll get there. But we don't need to go deep. If we were going maybe 6 rounds, 8 rounds, then he becomes pretty sneaky there. Paul, I mean, look, you know, your team, I like Emery has some eclectic choices there given what was in front of him at the time. DeChambeau makes all the sense, but I don't even have Oberg in my power rankings, and Fleetwood is just nice complementary material, really safe, and Connor's a bit of the same. So you could see if Oberg can find some consistency that he's been lacking of late, Emery ends up being the danger to all of us, no matter how the rest of us play. If we have the winner or we podium, he has probably the strongest or the highest floor, I would say. maybe the fewest question marks, Oberg being really the only one. And obviously his confidence level is high in Oberg, so, I credit him for that. Paul, I think Straka, I'm a big fan of the guy. He was the top of my power ranks at the Players Championship. Surprised a lot of people. I mentioned it during the Players or during the Masters with you guys. Surprised a lot of people that he was there. Coming off the victory, perfect fit for this course. Very comfortable in his own skin. Won before, just won on a big tournament. So he could be the guy that could surprise everybody this week, but he wouldn't surprise me. And then you have nice compliment material there with Cantley at the end. When does he disappoint anybody? So, yeah, I think overall, as usual, we have a lot of differences, right? But I said the same thing at the Masters, and you already explained how all that transpired. So, I'm careful. I mean, I'm obviously very confident in my own squad, but maybe it's this week where I go like 1 for 4. We'll find out.
Look, you haven't. Was it last year's U.S. Open where we all missed the cut?
It was the Open Championship.
Open Championship, yeah. The Open Championship, none of us won. It was a disaster.
If he didn't talk to me all winter.
Yeah. Smokey, final thoughts.
Well, I didn't like the way he was talking about Neiman at all. That's going to keep me up tonight. I'm kind of pissed because he took Patrick Reed, the grinder. He's got a bunch. You got grinders, Scheffler, Lowry, Rahm, and Reed. I got some stars in Rory Morikawa and Matsuyama, but I always seem to panic on that fourth one. I don't know why. I think it's intimidation from Rob's dominance. And Emery coming back from an Oklahoma City Thunder game when they have regained the lead in the series. I'm out of whack here. I'm not throwing in the towel, but I don't know now. I'm a little bit nervous about this weekend.
This is the first time I've ever heard you with any shaken confidence, Smokey. I tell you what. The thing about Neiman is he's atop the points list for LIV, and he's an incredible player, and he's won many times all over the place, but he just hasn't cracked through in a big one. He's gonna. It's going to happen at some point. And so this may be the week where in a month when we get together, hopefully for the U.S. Open, you're going to be saying, I told you so. And I wish that for you, but for a second place finish. That's what I wish.
Thank you very much. Behind you. I'll take a second place because the last few tournaments have been rough. Rob, it's always great to hear from you, buddy.
Likewise, guys. Thanks again.
All right. And we'll talk to Rob before the U.S. Open.